How do you balance DJing and then working at the church, then sleep?
I'm just learning how to get a sleep schedule. But I've learned, and I try not to take Steve Harvey's advice because he caught a lot of flack for this when he said, you would never be rich if you sleep 8 hours a day. At least proper rest. That's how I taught my mind. Because I know time is money, and sometimes if you sleep, you're not going to make that much. But depending for me, I can't speak for people that's over a certain, but for me that's young and like hustling to get to where I need to get to, I know I can't sleep as much.
To get those hours of sleep and that good sleep without anything on my mind is one of the things I have to turn off from the day. I don't watch TV. If I watch TV, it watches me sleep.
Yeah.
And at some point, I'm going to sleep. Then I can be super productive. Like in the hours that I am awake, I'm on it. Hey, what up? Welcome back to another episode of the T Smith Experience with our Too Skilled to Fail series going on. Today I have DJ DRIM, Deryck Rimson, also again known as DJ DRIM, right here in Las Vegas once again. We're going to be talking to Deryck today about From Hustle to Habit. And Deryck's going to tell a little bit about his background and his history to get to where he is today as, again, DJ DRIM. Welcome.
How are you?
I'm doing good. Thank you for coming all the way over here.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, absolutely. So I'm going to just jump in real quick because I know a little bit already about your background. So I'll give a little bit, you give a lot more.
Okay.
But you were born and raised in the Los Angeles area. Let me see. Let me get this right because I'm mixing it all up. So I know there's Detroit in there, there's Jersey in there, and there's Los Angeles.
Yes.
Tell me about when and how you grew up in those areas.
So I was born and raised in Detroit, Michigan. I lived in Detroit so I was born, of course, till about 12, 13. Within that, I did move around a little bit in Michigan. So Kalamazoo, which is 2 hours away, went to elementary school out there, and then I moved to California when I turned 12, 13 years old. Went to high school, middle school in California. And then when I graduated from high school, that's when I moved to Jersey a year after. And then Jersey up until I turned 28. Now I'm here in Las Vegas. I've been around a little bit. I've been around,
It doesn't sound like military. I don't get military background, but what got you moving back and forth from the West Coast to the East Coast back to the West Coast?
That's a good funny question because my grandfather was a military man. So it trickled down to my dad, and my dad taught me how to, transition because he moved around a lot. He taught us how to not stay stuck in one place because he's a pastor. So he would have churches in one city, then he would want to move to another city, and then we ended up moving somewhere else. And he's like, God told me to move to California. So then we moved to California, and then we moved to Jersey. So I learned how to not be comfortable because of that. I learned how to, be open to change.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
No, it definitely does.
Yeah.
Change is hard, and so that's great that you learned how to. I still am navigating change and what that means and how to get from one position and then do a full-on change. It takes me so much steps in my mind. I feel like the best thing for me, though, is just to not talk about it out loud, just kind of process everything before I actually do a big old change. I don't know how you did it, but that's how I did it because it's been a lot. My first move out of anywhere was from the Bay Area to Las Vegas. That's it.
I mean, that's still far.
That's down the street.
I mean, that's what, this a 10, was that a 10-hour?
It was an 8-hour drive, yeah.
Coming to Vegas?
From the South Bay. From the South Bay to Vegas was an 8-hour drive. It was like 7 hours and some change.
Listen, you'd be surprised. Some people don't want to go 2 hours out their hometown.
I've met people who live in Los Angeles who said, I've never been to Vegas. I'm like, it's over the hill. And you're in your 30s already? It's over the hill.
Listen, and when I lived in California, I experienced the same thing. But when I got older, I realized, like I said, back to change. Some people have yet to get on a plane and travel. Like, I have a friend of mine that said they ain't flown since 9/11. So can you imagine how people feel after the pandemic? Some people still don't want to leave their house. And I've been around people that say, I haven't even went to the beach. I only go to the beach once a year. But we're in South Cali. Take the 10 freeway. It'll take you straight there. But some people don't.
I'm telling you, you got to get out of your own way.
Yes.
That is a really hard challenge for many people. And I can say many people, my family members.
Right.
I am one of, there's 13 of us combined between my mother's kids, my father's kids.
Right.
13 of us. I am one of few who actually get up and travel and venture out and do different things. So do them. Like the statistics right there alone is crazy.
And it's inspiring too to say that you like to travel because some people, they need that outlet. Some people need to it's like like they have to work or they have to be active, you know, because sometimes you sit in the house or you do the same thing that can cause depression. And for me, it taught me how to be more active and be open to, wanting to see a different state every now and then, or because my dad, he traveled and preached, so it taught me how to not just be so comfortable in just being at home and playing video games.
I definitely want to dig in more of what you've done. I mean, your musicianship is not just DJing, and I know I introduced you by your DJ name,
yes,
real and DJ name, but your musicianship comes with, you're a drummer, you are a producer. Come on now, you're a writer. Let's get on. What else do you do? What do you don't do? And I keep on saying that to people. Again, this is why we're doing the series of Too Skilled to Fail, because I want to grab all those different elements of what you do. Yes, you're a preacher's kid. Yes, you're back and forth on the East Coast, West Coast. You love to travel and things like that. But what do you do is what I really want to dig into.
People ask me, what do you do? I'm a professional musician. So all of that is piled into DJing, producing, writing, playing drums. Yeah. Drums is my first love. Playing drums is what made me fall in love with music. And growing up in Detroit, I found that love when I was 3. And then started out beating the crap out of my grandmother's chair. I actually put a hole in it one time.
Oh, wow.
Got a whipping for it. But she couldn't get too mad because the next Christmas, I had a drum set under the Christmas tree.
She said, I'm going to get you something to beat on. You want to beat on something, beat on these.
Yeah, so,
okay.
Rest in peace to my beloved grandmother. So, but yeah, she was like, listen, you're not going to be beating on none of my furniture. So I'm going to get you a drum set. And ever since then, I fell in love. I picked up the drumsticks. I was a church drummer at 5. And then I just fell in love with music, being around bands and organists. So from that, I grew into just loving music so much. And of course, it was other things I enjoyed, like basketball and things like that. But I was always running to the drums. That was my first love. I played it every single day. I would practice. I didn't have lessons. God bless me. I was self-taught. But I felt like I was gifted in that area because that's all I did was just pick up the drumsticks and play.
How did you learn to read music? If you're self-taught, and I always wonder about that, I'm not a type of person that can self-teach myself, something like that. I've tried, but I would have to learn. I'm tell me the mechanics behind it, give me the book information behind it, and then I can start to do it.
Right.
How did you teach yourself to read music?
To be honest with you, I didn't teach myself. I actually went to school, learn how to read.
Okay, so you were already playing for years, and then you went to school, and they were like, oh, you don't know how to read music? My daughter had that same thing happen.
I didn't read not one stitch of music notation till I got to college. So I got to Berkeley. And the crazy thing is, and I've learned this recently, it's great to read music, but sometimes it can be a crutch. But a lot of people say that. I work with musicians that read, and it's kind of like, how when you do interviews and you have cards, sometimes you just want to have a full conversation without feeling like you're following a script.
Absolutely. This is why I'm like this with my cards. I'm like, I'm going to look at them, but I'm just to make sure we touch on some things, but I don't want to have this be my, and today, and now we're going to, I don't want to do that.
And that's kind of what it is when you read music sometimes. When you read charts, as a drummer, you're looking at the chart and you're playing and you got to stick to the script. And sometimes music is really a feeling.
All the times. It's
a feeling. You can't feel it if you're reading it, if you're reading a chart. Because it's like, I have a feeling I want to do this, but I got to stay with the chart, unless I might get fired. But it's still a good tool because if you're doing like production, TV shows, commercials, that's a script. So that's for cameras and editing, and this is the script, stick to it. Or if you're doing a TV show that's live, they suggest that you read the chart because of time purposes.
Right.
But as far as creating, I tell people sometimes reading music can be a crutch. It can be a bad thing because some people can't be creative when they read music. But it also helps because, I know drummers that played on American Idol and they had to read charts. But a lot of the show was live, so that makes sense. But with me, I learned how to feel the music than read it.
Good. I feel like that probably comes out more soulful, more intentional and real when you're just playing from the heart.
And that's why you have your James Browns. I can go to today. That's why you have your Jasmine Sullivan, your Brandys, your Summer Walkers. I mean, they just go in the studio and they just do what they do without having to read. Because, there's charts for singers. There's exercises for singers to read to make them hit notes better. But some people, they just feel it. They go in the studio and they just hit certain notes. And for some people, I have to read the chart and see what note I need to hit. But for some people, you don't have to do that. They feel it and it's in their soul, which that's what we're missing too, is the soul in the music and the soul in the voice.
That's awesome. I did have another interview with someone. We were talking about the language of music.
Yeah.
It's an entire language. And so I feel like, to me, I wish I could learn the language. I'm trying to just learn Spanish. I struggle with English every once in a while, but I'm trying to just learn another language, and music would be a great thing to add into my repertoire.
It's nothing but a conversation. That's all music is. That's the language. Having like right now, I can write a song just off our conversation. Those are the best songs.
That would be awesome. Those are those $1 million songs that you're like, I just did that in 5 minutes.
And that's the language of it. See, you know, and I had to learn that as a drummer because they say, because I don't really play organ fluently. I don't play keys fluently, but I know the language of it. So it's easier for me to produce a record because I can tell another keyboard player, like, this is how I want it to sound. I want it to sound dark, or I want it to sound light, or make it dark here, but don't make it too dark. Put it in the middle. I can play on top of it. I could tell the bass player, like, I need a brighter tone or I need a darker tone. Like, because a lot of music, a lot of producers that don't play instruments. People forget Quincy Jones did not play not one instrument on Thriller, but yeah, not one instrument. But you know the language. He knew how to produce. Still the biggest record of all time.
Amazing, right?
So
the 13-year-old you, who, I mean, you fell in love with music. You came back and forth. You're 13 years old. You've been playing since you were 5 and beyond. Yeah. Before that, excuse me. What did you want to do outside of music?
Basketball.
You were gonna play, yeah.
I was in love with basketball, or I would say I attempted to stay in love with it. Mm-hmm. Basketball was everything to me, and I did that around 7, and then watching, thanks to my grandmother. My grandmother played a big role in my life, by the way.
I'm hearing this.
Because she bought me my first drum set, but then this was the same woman that bought me every Michael Jordan, like, highlight tape that came out in the 90s. Space Jam came out, I was a fan. Then she'll send me a basketball, a Space Jam jersey. I didn't even shoot not one basketball at the time, but she saw something in me before I even got to that. Then it came to her buying me, at the time when we had VCRs, you know, the home basketball videos. She'll send me that, and I just fell in love with basketball. So I started playing basketball all the time. Up until high school, I played AAU, travel ball. She took me to Michael Jordan's camp. So
she really believed in you.
I was big into basketball. Mm-hmm. So if that was one thing I wanted to do if I didn't do music, because it was a point where I didn't want to do music, because depending on where you used to live, some people didn't want to let you in that space. So I was like, okay, you're going to take that from me. I'll do basketball. I ain't got to deal with y'all. Then with basketball, it didn't work. I go right back to music.
Right.
As my safe space. So,
and I know we had a recent conversation about that, about finding your different spaces within whatever you were doing. If it's too, hyper focused on other people doing it, you find another way to get into what you wanted to do.
Right.
So for you, your first love was playing the drums, but you were a DJ and you're DJing. So you found that space. Tell me about that, or tell, I guess, the audience about that, because I knew a little bit about your backstory, your history of getting out here, wanting to be get on stage in any way. What was that hustle like?
It was the worst and best experience thus far of my life so far. I know there's going to be more challenges the more I, grow, especially in God for sure. But coming here, I've realized Vegas is very clannish, very cliquey. I love it here, but they're very cliquey. They're used to their circle, and they don't want to branch when I first moved out here. Mm-hmm. So it was tough, because living in Jersey before I moved out here, I was DJing at the skating rinks. That was my big start. Started DJing when I was 14, and then back to the drums again. And then I picked it back up because I was so in love with music. I was doing birthday parties and I was doing church events. Mm-hmm. So I just thought, like, I can really do this. Mm-hmm. And then that's when I got into the skating scene, the skating rinks. And when I moved out here after COVID and everything shut down, I was like, okay, this is my opportunity to, meet everybody, go to different clubs. And then, of course, there's a skating rink out here, which is off of Boulder Highway, called Skate Rock City. So you guys, make sure you guys come out to that. At the time, before Floyd Mayweather bought it, there was under other management. So I would contact them, and one lady, she picked up the phone, and I was like, I want to DJ, because the other management back in Jersey, she referenced me over there. She sent my resume over there, and the lady was like, no, we have enough DJs already. And she hung up the phone. So I'm like, I know I did not move to Vegas from here just to not live in my purpose. So from that, I'm like, no, this is what I want to do. But everywhere I went, it was no, we have enough. No, we're good. No, we have enough. I would literally go to Blue Martini and just hear the other DJs, just thinking to myself, I want to DJ here. I want to be here so bad. Like,
you were manifesting it. You were definitely manifesting what you wanted by being in those spaces.
and I went there for a year. Now, Blue Martini story is more funny than the skating rink because I would go to Blue Martini for a year straight, every other Sunday. This is when everybody was fighting for tables, and I knew I had to. At the time, I was door dashing, so I would save money just to go to Blue Martini, and I knew I had to spend at least $40 on something, and I would just hear the DJ. Shout out to my brother, DJ Yogi Styles. I would hear him every Sunday, but I would still be having this vision that I'm gonna DJ here. Took me a year, and for some reason, I manifested exactly what I wanted because I'm there now.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
So-
And that's how we got introduced, by seeing you kind of on the DJing. But the cool part was the one day I was like, "Are you DJing tonight?" You're like, "Nah." And you didn't say nothing else. I remember that day you didn't say anything else, and all of a sudden I was like, "Why is he on stage?" And then you were drumming. I was like, "Okay."
right.
And that's the first time I saw you drumming.
Yeah.
And I saw you online. I would follow you online and see you actually doing some stuff, mixing music and producing at home.
Right.
You know, you'd be like up in all night type of deal, which you would say
Yes.
online. And I'm like, oh, okay, he music produces and he DJs. Okay, cool. But then the drumming, I was like, oh, he drums as well. Okay.
Started with that, and then I don't know if you realize this. I felt more free. I mean, you was like, you just chewing that gum because I was.
Yeah.
That's why I'm
You
not
were chewing the heck out of that gum.
I'm not chewing no gum, America. See,
If you guys have seen him DJ or play the drums, he gets some gum. I know people, it's funny because I feel like all musicians has a little quirk that they do, whether it's with my daughter has one that she does, it's between her eye and like her cheek. And it like twitches when she's playing, and she plays like 7 instruments.
Yeah.
When she's playing, she does the same thing with her mouth. It's all one side of her face. And I'm like, I've never seen that unless she's playing an instrument.
Yeah.
The only time that gum,
Listen,
you're going to town.
I got that, the stank face.
Do you?
When I do the ugly face when I'm trying to go around the drum kit. Same thing when I DJ. If I hear a certain song, my head bops a little bit hard. That's why I be getting headaches. And then I had to learn how to stop chewing gum when I DJ too, because I do it and then I come home with a headache.
Right. I was gonna say that should give you your head should hurt by the time you finish with that. But if it gets out what you're trying to get out, if you feel it, then go for it. Chew that gum. Maybe find you some softer gum. What you chewing? Boba gum?
I don't. Five.
Okay.
5. Yeah. I mean, and what's it called? Trident.
Trident.
However you say it.
Yep.
Listen, but I get made fun of all the time for chewing gum when I DJ and play drums.
Okay, but it's your thing. You probably don't even think about it. You probably put on your, get dressed, put on your jacket, grab your shades. If you're gonna wear shades tonight, throw on your hat, turn it backwards, and grab your gum. Before you even grab your keys, is the gum.
And it works because I thought I had performance anxiety, and then I would run into gum, which a lot of people don't understand. That maybe the gum would help me like stay focused a lot of the time. So that's why I would chew it so hard. Like,
yeah.
Even playing basketball, like I would do the same thing. I would chew gum. It would help me out. And then until a couple times I bit my tongue and I was like, I'm not doing that.
No. Yeah.
So.
That probably, some people turn to alcohol and they take a shot and they drink to relax or whatever to get them in the mood to.
And that's what's crazy. I don't drink alcohol.
That's good.
I get made fun of for that too. I'd rather get made fun like like you chew gum, but you don't drink alcohol when you DJ.
That's okay. You focus though, right?
Yeah, I mean, some people say it helps them. For me, I don't know. Maybe because of how I was raised, and I just don't. And then I've seen I've been around people that have lost their jobs because they had a drink while they were DJing, and just crazy stuff happened. I told myself I don't want to do that.
Yeah, you gotta stay focused. I always try to. This is too skilled to fail, and so I can actually take my HR hat off and just be real on my show and talk about it. But in real life, I was going through a really tough time in the HR world and space in my head. Like every day, I was just stressing. Every day, I had anxiety and things like that. I remember one morning, I had a flask, it was like a coffee cup, like one of those heated ones. I filled it up with wine and sipped and sipped and sipped as I sat there at work. And let me tell you, that day, I was no good by noon. I could say this because I'm not at the company anymore, but by noon, and mind you, I was in office. I was no good but I was like, I got to do something different. This is when I decided, like right around the time that I decided I needed to do something different because I was having anxiety to even go into that office and to be there.
Right.
And it wasn't just the job, it was just the process. I wasn't happy. And I was like, ooh, let me just figure it out. And I was talking before about one of my podcasts that what I typically do is I listen to different types of music to get myself like pumped up to be be in the space of work.
Right.
And sometimes it's gospel, sometimes it's hip hop, sometimes it's, rock even, right? This day was like, I need that wine is going to get me through the day. And by noon, I was done. I vowed to never do that again because I wasn't productive for the rest of the day, but right. it was something to ease me, to get me through that morning.
I mean, that works. Listen, I don't judge people that drink.
Oh, I judge myself. Oh, yeah. Especially when by noon, and it was a fairly good cup, and I was done with it by noon. Yeah. From 8 or whatever, I think I started at 8:30, maybe 9 o'clock till noon. I just sat there and sipped on it as people came in, and in my hearts of hearts, I was kind of feeling like, you know what I mean, yeah. Doing something naughty right. In HR, and then noon, I was like, ooh. It was a bad look, but so I'm glad you don't drink to go.
And I mean, I don't judge people because when I DJ, I get 3 drinks for free. That's why every time people come,
I drink. If you don't,
right here. No, that's what I do.
Slide it to me.
That's what I do. I'm like, listen, you got 3 drinks per shift.
After
Great.
Hours.
Just give it to my friends. They'll take it.
Right.
I make sure y'all come to the bar. I watch what they give y'all, and then y'all do what y'all do.
There we go. Okay, well, that's a deal. We've solidified that. I want to, and then getting back to our structure too. My topic is on here, our structure and habits, and I love it though. It's a hustle to happen. So I wanted to talk to you about what your structure looks like because your day to day. You said you've done some other things, driving and things like that. Right now, you're full time working as a DJ, right? And between DJing and then drumming at the church.
Yes.
All right. How do you balance those two? Question for you. I'm going to double load the questions, but how do you balance DJing and then working at the church and then sleep?
I'm just learning how to get sleep. Let's start there. I'm just learning how to get a sleep schedule, but I've learned, and I try not to take Steve Harvey's advice because he caught a lot of flack for this when he said you would never be rich if you sleep 8 hours a day.
Okay.
And lately I've felt that because I'm like, I don't remember the last time I slept 8 hours. So I try to make sure I get at least proper rest. That's how I taught my mind.
Okay.
Because I know time is money, and sometimes if you sleep, you're not going to make that much. But depending, for me, I can't speak for people that's over a certain, but for me that's young and like hustling to get to where I need to get to, I know I can't sleep as much. Especially in the city where there's so much money out here, so much opportunity. I feel like the minute you relax, somebody's going to take your spot. So I've been...
Okay. I'm going to just add to this one because I beg to differ.
Okay.
For me, though, it's about the quality. Yes, it is. Yeah. It is about the quality of the hours that you do sleep. So if you're sleeping, make sure you're really actually sleeping. That RIM, you are done, right?
Sure.
For me, I could sleep a good 10 hours and be super duper productive with the time that I'm up, right? I'm a sleeper. Like, I love my sleep. I cherish my sleep. To get those hours of sleep and that good sleep without anything on my mind, it's one of the things I have to turn off from the day. I don't watch TV. If I watch TV, I don't watch it. It watches me sleep. Yeah. And at some point, I'm going to sleep. Then I can be super productive. Like in the hours that I am awake, I'm on it. Like I'm up at 6:30 in the morning. I'm up at 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning. This morning, crazy enough, I woke up at 7:11 in the morning. I looked at my clock and because I was like, the sun seems like a little up,
right?
It was 7:11. I said, what? My body needed it. I listened to my body.
Right.
If you needed to sleep until I questioned you, I was like, slept until 7 because usually it's 5:30, 6 o'clock. I'm up. 6:30, I'm actually up. I went to the restroom. I came back in bed. I'm doing everything I'm doing. I'm doing my morning goals, my morning manifestation, putting my stuff on my calendar. But I'm ready at that point. My alarm telling me that you got. Oh yes, you got work to do. Look, I set my alarms. This is what I do. So that's just what happens. So I set my daily alarms. Right. Each and everything I have to do, whether it's make a call, whether it's prep something for the day, leave the house. I manifest and I do everything in the time that I'm awake, and I actually just hit those things.
I definitely agree with you because I was going to say too, because now I have to have a sleep schedule now because it's starting to hit me. Because eventually it would catch up to you and you would burn yourself out. And it's been few times I'm like, why am I doing this? Mm-hmm. Then, because I posted on my social media on Sunday, I look so sleepy and tired. Like, I'm at church, guys, and I should be happy to say I have sound check at 7. I got an 8 o'clock service. I have a 10, and I have a 1:30. Then I DJ at 7, then I DJ at midnight. But I'm over here like, guys, y'all, and I'm like, in my head, I'm like, I should be happy, like, and I am, but at the same time, I'm like, I'm not getting no sleep. I just left a club, got done DJing at 2:30, got back home just to get back up at 5. I'm like, then I had to teach myself, like, getting proper rest. You are way more productive that way. Right. But then that's the bad thing about being a creative, because sometimes your brain never shuts off. Like you could be asleep and then God might give you an idea, or you might have an idea out of nowhere, and then you might wake up and you might got to lay that idea. Like, and I've had those moments. I used to stay up and produce till 4 o'clock in the morning, and then I realized I can't keep doing that.
I don't care how young or old you are, whatever it is,
it catches up.
It is going to catch up to you. And even in that week, if you're like, I only sleep that month or week, whatever, it's going to hit you, and then your body's just going to shut down on you. Yeah. And a lot of times my body shuts down in my way of me actually getting sick. Like physically sick if I don't stop running. And this is not just for work. I'm running because I'm traveling. I'm running because I'm having fun, or I went on a concert and then I'm working. And then this weekend I'm going to travel here and I'm going to get on the plane here and I'm going to sleep on the plane. My body was like, no, that was not real sleep. I want you to sit down, and my body will sit me down.
No, you taught me something. That happened to me. I got sick 3 months ago. I had a bad ear infection. And a lot of it had to do with the fact that I don't get proper rest. I'm around loud music all the time. Yeah. At some point, I got to shut it off. I got to take. So now, before I do a gig, I make sure I take a good. See, people say it's not good to take a nap more than 2 hours.
Ooh, I am so mad with a 2-hour nap. I need 3. I'm
one of those. Longer?
Oh, I'm one of those. I need longer.
I do 2 to 3.
2 hours. I'm
but it still adds up.
Agitated.
But it adds up though, because I'm like, if I slept let's say if I slept 5 hours and I come home and I take another 2 hours, technically I can function at night, and normally that's worked for me. Especially if I'm DJing late at night, I make sure if I get 2, like you said, 3 hours, and I know I got a DJ at 9, 10 o'clock at night, I'll be fine.
Yeah, get your rest in.
It's worked, because at first I'm like, and the funny thing is like, you gotta be careful what you ask God for, because before I was begging God to give me a job doing what I love, and now it's to the point where I gotta say no. Yeah. Doing 3 gigs in one day, like, and praying that Vegas people don't know how to drive right. Praying nothing happens, and I'm over here trying to speed to the skating rink and speed to Blue Martini. Like, that's why I make sure now I get it. Proper rest is definitely important. So
yeah, I think it also too is that structure of what you set up your daily plan. So pre-planning your day out, and including that time for sleep or whatever like that. Whatever you're at home, whatever time you have, that's your time. This is what time I'm gonna do. Like turning off your phone, turning off whatever you need, distractions, and being able to do it. But I'm saying this as if I'm like knowledgeable. No, I had to learn this the hard way in order to start running when I ran my business. Now before, I had kids. There was no way for me to figure out in the time where my kids were all at home how to actually map out my day and actually stick to the plan. Right? Something always happens. I can't do the pre-planning I do now without the kids in the house, because I'm an empty nester, but and I'm loving it. But when I had pre-planned, I learned pre-planning earlier on from someone else who was in sales.
Right.
He would, he taught me how to pre-plan. So I'd pre-plan, but something will come up. I'm pre-planning. I have everything going on. I have a meeting going on. Oh, the child is sick. I got to go pick up the child. This has happened. I got to do. Something happened. Oh, I forgot my homework at school. Can we go back into the after-school program and pick up my whole pre-plan is out the window each and every time. But now that I have my own schedule in my own life, yes, stuff happens every once in a while. Don't get me wrong. It's not always perfect, but for the most part, my schedule is my schedule. Yeah. Like I'm shutting it all down. Like I'm not conversating. I'm not on social media. There's nothing going on when I'm supposed to be doing X, whatever X is. Yeah.
And like I said, I learned from you on that too, because I'm starting to do that now. Because even me, I go to therapy. And my therapist told me that. She told me that. She was like, listen, first need to find something outside of what you love so you don't burn yourself out, and schedule that in somewhere. So that's why I still play basketball. I schedule myself to wake up early, go to sleep early. I used to go to sleep late, and sometimes mentally that can take a toll on you if you wake up late and go to sleep late. And that could be a bad habit for musicians, because our brain functions better when we create late at night. But then sometimes it can be bad when you get older. So I had to learn how to reverse it. Like, okay, let's say from noon about 6, 7 o'clock, I'm in my creative space. But once it get to 8, 9, I know around 11 midnight, no later than midnight, I'm going to be in the bed.
That's good. If you're not having to work and be playing and being in the creative space and actually DJing.
And that's the thing that was kind of what sucks, because Vegas is nightlife town.
It is.
Nothing happens during the day.
It is, which is, I mean, perfect. People always say, I can't believe you live in Vegas. It's so hot out there. I work in the house at home every day. And for you, you work in some type of building for the most part. But a lot of people work indoors or they work at night. And so it is opposite here, what I've learned.
I got a question. Well, this is your show.
No, please.
Because see, this is the thing that makes I get so irritated. Why do people say it's too hot in Vegas? It's only hot, 90 days out the year?
That's it.
Why do people be saying? I get annoyed when people be saying that. Like, I would never come to Vegas. It's just a desert. Like, do you guys go anywhere outside of just the Strip? And then why do you guys say it's just hot? Like, between May and like right now, we're about to go into November. I guarantee you the whole October, it was probably hot maybe 10 days out the month. We are now in the 80s. Like, I'm wearing a jacket because it's going to get colder in the evening.
Oh, that's what people don't know. It is cold out here as well. It's not freezing. It's not Detroit.
It's not Detroit.
I won't say that.
So, it's not Detroit. It's not Detroit or Jersey.
Or Jersey at all.
It's not. But it do get cold. Like, 40 degrees is not bad. That's actually comfortable. That's good cuddle weather for a lot of you couples out there. Like,
yeah, let the couples do the couple thing.
Yeah, y'all not freezing. Like, it's not below zero. The pipes are not about to burst. I always want to ask, like, why do people say it's hot when it's only 3 months out there?
I feel like, though, Vegas typically, well, I don't know, maybe it's the people who don't come in the wintertime because my birthday's in February. And so every February, for like 3 years, 4 years in a row, I know Aquarius.
You already know.
So three years in a row, and then I skip a year and then come for 2 years in a row again.
Yeah.
I'd come to Vegas because there's something to do in Vegas. And I'm like, it's cold in February, most places, unless I was going like to the Bahamas or, somewhere else, Hawaii or something like that. It was cold. And I didn't have budget to go far from the Bay Area. Vegas was an easy, flight over if I bought my tickets early enough. And so I would just come to Vegas. I'd be so freezing. And I'm like, I don't know why people say it's so hot out here. It's cold. I'm miserable if I stood outside, but I was happy because I can go into the shows. I can do a bunch of stuff.
People don't get that.
When it's cold.
90% of Vegas is indoors.
Well, because we have to have it indoors.
And when you go indoors, it's super cold indoors.
For a reason.
So people be saying it's high. It's nothing but 90% of what you do in Vegas is indoors. Like, you go on the Strip is indoors. Every casino, every show you go to. Right. Like the football stadium. Like, you go to see the Raiders play. It's indoors. It's not an outdoor stadium. Like, come on, y'all. Like, so if anybody that says it's too hot in Vegas hasn't been to Vegas enough.
That's true.
Start coming to Vegas more. Like, it's about to be LA 2.0 anyway. But I always wanted to ask that, like, this is such a beautiful city because everything is inside.
Absolutely love it. For you to come back, now you came back to Vegas with your family to Vegas this last time you came.
Yes.
I was going to ask that because, you got the opportunity to go back and forth in the entertainment. And when hopefully I get to meet your mother, who is an entertainer as well, because that's another direction I wanted to go with this conversation of that musicianship, where you got that from. You have your dad your grandfather who was in the military, right? Yes. And then father?
My dad was, he's just a pastor.
And then pastor. And then you have your mother. And then your mother who's a musician.
Yes, because her mother is a pastor, musical background. And I grew up. My grandmother is close with the Clark sisters, so those are like my spiritual aunts. J. Drew Sheard, Karen Clark Sheard's son. That was like my cousin growing up. Like, I actually sat under him, like watched him put a show together at like 16 years old, 17. I was inspired. I'm like, he's doing this all by himself at 17. So what he's doing now, he's been doing it for years. He got me into Jay Dilla. I didn't know nothing about Dilla. He used to clown me all the time. Like, I would be like, who Dilla? I mean, like, dude, stop saying you from Detroit and you don't know who Dilla. Like, he used to clown me. Like, every time I see him, like, he'd be like, man, you ain't from Detroit. Stop getting on interviews. Stop telling people at school you from Detroit. You don't even know who Jay Dilla is. So how you gonna say you from Detroit? So I would like beg him to like let me listen to, because he would come to camp. We went to basketball camp together. We would play drums. We would be doing drum battles. Yeah, we would be like at his house going back and forth on drums. I'd be like, man, give me the drumsticks. You don't know what you're doing. Like, we used to like.
Okay.
But he taught me a lot, though. When he got older, I used to study like how he produced, how he put records together. And then he got me more into the Jay Dilla. That's when I learned about Tribe Called Quest. I was 14 at the time, so my generation, 2000s, we listened to the 50s and, the Lil Wayne at the time. We didn't tell a 12-year-old about Tribe Called Quest back in 2007. It's like, I don't want to hear that old school music.
Oh, man.
You know, but I was into it. Being around them, I played for the Clarks a couple times, and that's when I learned how to really play in a band because they would get on me. They'll stop the whole show and be like, "Who on the drums? I need you to tighten up your pocket a little bit." Like
you got to learn that way. And let me tell you, I've actually been privy to being at some of these shows here because I hang around, as you see me out with a couple of different musicians. And I'm at the shows where I see the singer look back at a drummer or somebody like get it right, and I'm dead looking at her in her face or looking at the guy in his face, and he's like, "Come on now," or they'll even make comments because they're just trying to like, let's get it together.
Dorinda Clark Cole did that to me. She did that to me one time. I was 13.
How was that?
It was really embarrassing, but I became a better musician because of her. Okay. So I love you, Auntie Dorinda. No, she got on me one time because thing about Detroiters, they love drive. You know, Midwest people, Chicago people, like that's my upbringing. So they love it when you drive a song. And I got tired. I'm not even going. I got tired.
Okay.
Like she kept driving the song for about 10 minutes. I'm like, listen, my arms is hurting. So I slowed down just a little bit. I didn't slow down the tempo. I just eased up off the volume.
I'm not ready.
She stopped singing and she turned around. She was like, "Whoever on the drums, don't get tired on me now."
Ooh.
"Oh, that's you, nephew. Okay, you should know. Come on now." I'm like, oh, snap.
The whole audience now looking dead at you.
Now, fast forward to now, that's why I be chewing that gum so hard when I play drums now, because, you know, I've been blessed to play for Ken Young and KK Mala, you know, and I know play for them. I know KK, if I go off, she gonna look back at me like, okay. That's why I be trying to, like,
just hold it.
I'm gonna stay there, like, so. Yeah, being around them, they helped me become a better musician. And my dad's the same way because he pastored. So he'll stay on me. He'll do stuff like this. You know, that was a 90s term.
What was that?
It's called being in the pocket. So if you playing all over the place and you're not playing the music, sometimes he'll look at me and he'll, at the time, you know, in the suit jackets, he'll
put his hand in his pocket.
He'll take the handkerchief out and be like this. And I'm like, okay, I get it now. So that's part of my upbringing growing up is that discipline. It helped me become like a better musician, a better producer, writer, all because of that right there.
That is very good. So reading your bio, it talks about you actually putting music scoring into movies. Tell me about that. Like, how did you get that gig and don't you want to do more?
Of course. I love scoring for television. I did a couple TV shows. One, I did Catfish. I got turned down. So this is a little note to you producers. Don't use other people's samples and loops because I had a placement on Catfish on MTV, but I used what they call a construction loop, which it comes already constructed, and I just added my own drums over it, and I submitted it. I got the placement, but then it was like, we can't accept it because we already have another placement that sounds like what somebody else submitted already. So that's when I had to learn how to play keys, actually like write my own songs from scratch, because that's what TV shows and movies are looking for. And when I did that, that's when I picked up a TV show. I ended up picking up a movie score. I ended up doing an independent show with Maya, the singer. She started a TV show called Fifth Ward, and I was able to get music into that show, all because I created my own music organically without having to, you know, take a loop and take what's constructed and just add some and copy and paste. So that's when I learned how to score my own TV, score my own music for TV shows and film.
Yeah. So I mean, no matter how much education you get, or if someone you said you were self-taught with a lot of this stuff. So no matter how much education you would have gotten, you're gonna have to learn some stuff along the way, and that may be somebody may be like, that's a no-brainer. Of course you can't. You know, you didn't know. Like you're like, I thought I was gonna add my own touch to it. So you don't know. So that the specs or whatever they would send you and say, hey, this is what it has to be. Some people are not sending that out to you, and I know that from being my background, and I don't share a lot. It's like some acting, and so a lot of stuff I've done is industrial, so training videos and stuff like that, and they'll send you what they want, the cadence that they want. But auditioning, you are kind of, they just want to see what you're going to do. Here's what I'm going to give you. Sometimes they give you and they say, we want you to be more like, you know, this type of character or personality, but a lot of times they don't. And so you just got to figure it out and feel it out on your own and learn the hard way.
And they do that for TV, like for music. They'll send you a template. They'll say, like, we want it to sound, give us something that sounds like this, but don't copy it.
Right.
But this is the reference. We need you to create something around this. And like I said, I didn't learn it at the time. So I'm thinking like, okay, let me take the same drums, take a drum loop that I bought off of Splice, to all you Splice users. Take a drum I bought off of whatever website and let me just use it. And then you're forgetting that 50 other hip hop artists are using the same drums.
Right.
And that's the first thing that is going to make people say no a lot faster. And that's me being around a lot of music supervisors that do movies and television, and they put music into these platforms, and that's the first thing they tell you, like, no, you need to create. Like, we need you to look at the scene and create it, not take something that's already made and try to put into this movie because it doesn't fit.
Right.
You know, so that's when I learned about characters, and I learned about, you know, sometimes the way you strike a piano can either break or make a scene. Like, if I play it too hard, it can disrupt the scene. If I play it light, depending on if it's a love scene, like, that's when I started learning how to write R&B records. Because sometimes how you play a chord, it can inspire people to either break up or have sex.
Yeah, depending on the mood.
Depending on how you hit the chord, you might hit it too hard, and they might be like, "Oh, I'm not in the mood." And then you might hit it a little bit, put a touch on it, touch of jazz, and it might make you want to make a baby.
Yeah.
And we know a lot of artists that are good at doing that.
Yes,
So.
the baby making songs, and then the
Listen.
eras for that. Yes, Trey Songz, get out of here.
Yeah.
Quit playing with me.
Exactly. So that's how I learned everything.
Yeah, you have an album though that is, or I don't know if it's just the beats, or you have the music for like a love making
Yes.
music. When is that gonna hit? What are you gonna do with it? Where is it gonna be?
I have two already out now. One is called Love Movement Samples. That's coming out in December.
Okay.
And I already have two R&B instrumentals. I made them during the pandemic. So that's already out on Spotify, all digital platforms. You guys can check that out. So yeah, I don't know, I was just inspired just to make love music, you know.
Stuck in a house, making love music. Were you in a relationship, or you just...
I was in a relationship.
Okay.
But at the time, I wasn't officially with the woman.
Okay.
But I was inspired, though.
Okay. I'm going to leave that where it is.
To get with her. And even when I got with her, like, taking trips to Miami and stuff like that, it inspired me to want to score that kind of music.
Okay. Yeah, I always wanted to know. I mean, those questions you want to ask people like Trey Songz and R. Kelly and stuff. Like, well, I don't want to ask him that right now. But certain people, you want to ask them what inspired you to write this music, or like what was the time frame? For me, certain things inspired me to listen to certain type of music. I told you about the work wise, but I remember I was going through a real rough patch, and there was I can't remember what album it was. Maybe it was that Beyonce CD.
Yeah, Dangerously in Love. Yeah.
That CD I listened to over and over again. I was looking for power within myself and like to get hyped up and to get inspired, and I would just constantly listen to it. And the best time to listen to it was in my car, because after dropping all the kids off at the time to school and stuff, I'd listen to that, and that just had me, inspired to get better. I would say, because I was going through a lot at the time.
And that's what a lot of people don't understand either, which back to what you were saying, because a lot of people feel like when you make music, everything should be for the clubs. Everything's not for the clubs. Like, some people make music for car rides, for going to school, going to work. We don't need music just for top 40 and for the club. Some people need to go to work. They might need something that's going to get them getting through the 8 hours of the day.
Right.
And you need to make music for that. You need to put out music that's going to help you get through a relationship, not, oh, this is for the club.
Yeah.
And that's usually where everybody's running to right now. Like, I need a club hit, club banger, club this, club that, club. And people forget, I DJ at the skate rinks. Some people are like, we need music for the skate rinks. Yeah. Like, you need music for restaurants. You need music for classy hotels. Elevator music. And people be making fun of that, but when you're on a date with somebody, you on an elevator, that sets the tone for the date.
It does. Already look at me. In my mind, I actually hear the click clack of my heels going in. Come on now.
See what I'm saying? Like, right, you feel inspired, right?
I'm inspired. Walking into the elevator, I'm feeling a little smexy already.
Now you want to go to a fancy restaurant with your man or whoever you with, and you don't want to hear, and I love rap music, but you don't want to hear Get It Sexy while you're on the elevator.
No, not on a first date. Well,
not on the first date.
Depends.
I mean, on third and fourth. But, when you're on the elevator at a 5-star hotel, that's the last thing you want to hear.
Right, absolutely.
You have a conversation. You hear like a little bit of elevator music. It can lead to something else later.
Yeah, set in the mood. Like, okay, them elevators know the elevator music attendants know what they're doing.
And I try to tell people that, like, everything not have to be club. Like, that's why people is mad at Kendrick Lamar. Like, they clown on him because it's like, it's a West Coast record. Everything is not meant for, even though it hit in the club, but his intention was he wanted to do it for his city. But a lot of people don't think that. They just think, I want to do this for the clubs. And then that's why everything is so stagnant.
Turn to something else then. That's why there's multiple stations and Sirius Satellite and all that extra stuff for you to listen to.
Different moods.
Yeah. I play music to my moods, that is for sure. I want to get into with some of these questions I have for you. You ready? You ready? Ready?
Let's do it.
So our topic being the hustle, from hustle to habit, turning grit into career success. Okay. So with that, as far as career success, what's your definition of your career success? And have you met all the kind of checked all the boxes, if you will, to get there?
Absolutely have not checked all the boxes.
Okay.
I'm on short term right now.
What does that mean?
Short term meaning like I have goals like for 30, but then I've learned that I don't want to say goals are overrated, which is a crazy topic, but I've learned that goals change because you change. The older you get, what you thought about when you were 19, you might not think about that at 29. You might be like, I was thinking too small. Mm-hmm. Like at 19, I just wanted to be a drummer, not thinking like what I'm doing right now was not in my imagination. Even though I said I DJ, I never said I was going to cross my mind and say I'm going to be in Vegas DJing.
Right.
This is the #1 entertainment capital of the world. Like, that was not on my list. But I did say I want to be a professional musician. Mm-hmm. So my career success is based on gratitude, being grateful. And once I learned how to be grateful and have gratitude, that's when God started to open up more doors for me. Like playing drums and DJing and producing. I never thought I would ever be a producer. It was just drums. Still to this day, like, just for you to say, like, oh, you got an album coming out, like, that was never in my wildest imagination. Like at 19,
you're just doing it,
and it just happened. Now I'm in love with it, all because I love music, and God put me in other spaces where I'm not just focused on just one thing. I mean, it's one thing, it's plan A, but it's everything within the plan A that I'm doing. So gratitude and being grateful is why my career is going the way it's going right now. But as far as checking off everything, like I said, in the next 5 years, my goals are probably going to change again. But it's still going to stay in plan A, but it's going to be something else that God probably didn't show me that's probably going to be bigger than my imagination.
Yeah, you might have a wife and family by then. I'm already
I'm
putting the pressure on you. For the wife and family by then, yes.
Listen, it might happen.
Okay. We're going to keep that out there, put it in an atmosphere for you. One of the conversations you and I had was about finding the difference between your passions and your gifts.
Yeah, gifts and talents.
Gifts and talents. There we go. I was like, there's a passion, so gifts and talents. Mm-hmm. So I wanted to dig into that because I found it very valuable how you were breaking it down. And for the audience, I'll share that I was sitting there and I was like, I don't know. I do a lot of different things. I love to do makeup. I love designing stuff in my house. I'm in HR and I'm been doing that for a long time. I'm good at it, but I really don't know. I love interviewing. I love different stuff. I really don't know what my gift is versus what my talents are. So I want you to explain how you broke it down to me. And that's exactly how I was rambling on that day about my gifts and talents. I would love for you to explain, like, getting down to how you break it down to get into what is my gift? What am I gifted at? What am I talented
Well,
for?
it started with the conversation I had with my pops. My pops, like I was saying earlier when we talked about how I was into basketball and I was into music. Conversation I had with my dad, because when I graduated from high school, I was like, should I go college to play basketball or should I go to college to do music? Mm-hmm. And I was going back and forth with it. My pop sat me down because I asked him, I was like, Pop, what do you think I should do? My pops was like, okay, you need to ask yourself this question. At the time, I was playing AAU basketball at the time. He was like, you got to ask yourself, would you rather go to practice every single day from 5 a.m. to noon and get back up and go back to practice at night? Or would you rather be in the studio and make records? Would you rather be on the drums and playing that all night? Because he said, because for what I'm seeing, you're on the drums all day. You're doing music all day and you're not tired. You're not stressed out. You come to the church and you beating on the drums. You just playing drums just to play. You stay after service and you want to do a jam session. When you play basketball, you telling me I don't feel like going to practice. You know what I mean? I don't feel like it today. Like, I'm sore, man. You got to go to practice. Like, this AAU is expensive. Mm-hmm. You better act like you want to go. Like, Pop, I don't feel like it. Then I got to deal with coaches, and I hate these drills, like these 2-ball drills. Like, I just want to just roll the ball out and play. But that's not how it worked. So he was like, from the way it's looking, you're complaining about basketball, but you really love music. Mm-hmm. So my decision was clear. If it's something that I wake up and I look forward to doing every single day, to the point where I can do it for free. If I can do it for free and I love it so much, oh, that's my gift. And it takes the least amount of effort. And I knew with music, I didn't have to work. I had to work, but it didn't feel like work. So I can be up for 12 hours working on music and it don't feel like I'm working at all. Just like DJing. Like, I forget the time if I'm having, like, at the skate rink. It goes by so fast. Like, 4-hour session goes by so quick. Versus if I'm in a weight room preparing for a game for 3 hours, I'm like, okay, I'm over it. So that's when I realized what my gift is. I knew with music, playing drums, it takes the least amount of effort, and I can do that all day long. No, me and my brother, he's like a brother to me, Eric Moore. We talk about it all the time. If you see that man's house, everything is a drum set. Like everywhere you go, like you can go in the kitchen, he's setting up a drum set somewhere, and he was like, dude, I love it. I love drums. I play drums from sun up to sundown. And you look at him, and he's one of the dopest drummers in the world, like, because he's passionate about it. He loves it. Yeah. And that's when I discovered what my gift is. Like, oh, I can do this in my sleep. I wake up music. I go to sleep thinking about music. So that's when I knew right then and there, like, if it's something that I can do for free and still give 1,000%, it takes the least amount of effort and I can maximize it, then that's what my gift is.
Yeah. Yeah, well, you got me down to my gift because I was all over the place. I was like, I got 1,000,000 gifts. No,
you can have more than
I have
one
a lot
gift.
of talents. Yeah. I feel like this self-proclaimed, but I have a lot of things that I feel like I'm talented at. Yeah. But I definitely feel my gift is right here. I love to connect with people. This is the best connection ever. I got up today and started with my own HR work, and that was the job, right? I'm good at speaking to people. I'm good at figuring stuff out for them. I've been doing it for 28 years, but I was so excited to get here. Like, I'm ready to get here, and this is something I can do without making, a dime off of it. I can do this every day, get to know other people, and this is not about my life and where I've been. I'm always trying to get to know somebody else, and so I feel like that's my gift.
It's cool and people feel like you got to discover that early, and you don't. Some people don't discover their gift till they're in their, like, 50s, 60s. Some people, Kentucky Fried Chicken was born at 50. People forget about that. Like, man had a vision. Man had a vision at 50. Like, a lot of these big companies didn't start till they was, like, darn near 60 years old.
I think, though, too, so thinking of gifts, your gifts, Eric Moore's gift, talking about my gifts, this is definitely my God-given gift. And I know this is the more and more days this has been going on. I've been having to think about this. Right. This is something I want to do as a kid. So as a child, I was always invested in wanting to get to know someone else's. Some people used to say I was an old soul. Right now, if you call me old soul, I'm mad at you because I'm getting older. I've been an old soul since I was younger. So studying adults, humans in general, I had been doing that since I was really little and paying attention to them. And if you say a word that I couldn't understand, I want to go look that word up and figure out how to learn and just be able to be as articulate, if you will, as the next person. And, where did they get that from and where are they from? So I've always tried to figure out how I can dig and get to know somebody else. My friend groups were never just one group of friends when I grew up. I would be hanging out. If it was recess time, what was recess? 15 minutes, 20 minutes? I don't know what recess was.
Like 25,
yeah. So it was 5 minutes in every different group. Yeah. So I was by myself. I'd leave. I'd go over to this group, see what they're doing, go to this group, see what they're doing. But I was always, if I go back, I was always trying to get to know different people. And backgrounds from different people. And I never wanted to be like stagnant on that. And so same thing, it was definitely, but I also know that people tend to gravitate to me, to talk to me and want to come to me. And sometimes I'd be like, my friend, he always says, he's like, we are in a public, this person's telling you their life story. He said, he'll walk up, like we're in a nice nightclub or we're on a vacation on a cruise ship. And all of a sudden he comes over and someone's like crying. And he was like, what just happened? It's okay. Let me finish this conversation. And someone just opened up and like, I just felt comfortable talking to you and you felt, oh my gosh, thank you so much. And now we're connecting. And a friend of mine gave me this little slogan that he was using. I use it now. And it's like, I never meet a stranger. No one's a stranger. That if you're in my presence, you're never a stranger to me. It's always something that's automatic if we end up connecting in that way. And sometimes it's bad. I don't, sometimes you're never a stranger, but it's one of those people like, oh, I know your type. I'm going to put you back over there out of my bubble.
And I'm seeing it, like, just looking at you right now. It's like, and then you're going 100% at it. Some people think, like I said, some people think and some people do. Mm-hmm. Like the Nike commercial, just do it.
Just do it.
But if you're gifted, you would do it. Like, some people just thinking like, I don't know, then that's when like you ain't sure. Like, because like we all have to, we're all talented. We all, but some things I just don't want to do all the time. That's why, and I think you asked me off camera one time if I had to pick between DJing and playing drums, which one would I do? And I said, I'll play drums. DJing is cool. It's just, do I really want to deal with people all day?
With their song requests?
I can't. Now with drums, can I deal with people? Sure, because you can throw. Don't do that. But you can say what you want to say to me. But drums, I can play frustrated. I play better frustrated. I play better when I'm hurt. I play better when I'm sad, angry, happy. DJing is kind of the same thing, but then when you add people and alcohol and stuff, I might just tell the promoter like, listen, just send me my check and I'm just gonna go home.
Oh,
I'm not gonna perform if I'm not like fully happy to do it. Drums can't tell me nothing. Like, you know, making a record, because I can play drums on a record. Like, you know, that's when I knew right then and there, like, oh, yeah, he's gifted. Ain't nothing stopping him.
Yeah.
Like, same thing with sports. People forget some players are talented and some players, you just look at them and it's like, I know if I did that, I'll get put on the bench.
Yeah.
But you're doing it, it's something about you.
Yeah,
That's why, there will never be another Steph Curry. You look at Steph Curry, it's like, okay, this man's gifted. You shooting the ball like that, like gifted. Kobe, rest in peace to Kobe, same thing. You just looked at him and been like, man, he's different.
Right.
You know? But that's how I judge it. And I had to learn that by myself, so. Yeah.
Well, good. That's we all got to learn. We got to learn ourselves, and then, like you said, in 5 years, you're gonna relearn yourself or reinvent yourself. And for me, I want to constantly reinvent myself. One of the questions that I used to have canned for people when I would interview them would be like, "Where do you see yourself in 5 years?" That's only because, let me tell you, I hate that question now.
Okay,
hate is a strong word, but I hate that question now.
I agree with you.
Because it puts somebody in a position where they feel like they have to chart out the next 5 years of their lives. I don't know what's going to happen the next 3 months, 2 months, 2 hours from now. So where would I like to be? It would be one of those basic answers like generally successful or generally comfortable, or I would like to be in a position where I can take care of my family. Like it would be one of those things that I would answer nowadays, which is typically not an answer that you would hear in a job interview for an engineering job or a research job or all these different positions I used to recruit for. But that's not what I would have expected someone to say. They were always, and that's the thing. When you're in an interview, you get those canned questions, even if you, hopefully now you can't Google it, and hopefully that doesn't come up in Google right now. If it does, you guys don't answer that one. I mean, answer it, but you don't have to answer it in the sense of, in the next 5 years, I'm hoping to be a senior research scientist. That's what I hope. Yeah, this is a research science role, and this is what I hope. I hope to gain enough knowledge in this position. I can do, like, it is like a recording in my head, the types of stuff that people would say. And I'm like, no one's being super genuine when they're answering these questions. So I stopped asking the question.
I don't want to say it's an Aquarius thing, but I hate that question. Guys get asked that too. Even in my dating life, I used to, where do you see yourself in 10 years? What are your goals? Like, what are your goals? How about that? Like,
right.
Why are you asking me? Like, and then it puts restrictions on you too. Because you feel like, where I see myself in 5 years, so if I don't accomplish that in 5 years, and what, you going to look at me different, or I'm going to be hard on myself. Yeah. And I always learn God's timing is better than yours.
Right. There's a way in which you can do that, because people do like vision boards. I believe in the vision boards.
Me too.
I do.
So
yeah. I believe in vision boards. I just would not draw myself out one that was that long. This is why, some people do them annually, They do a vision board annually. I personally probably would do my vision board annually and then check it in half the time and see if I need to change some stuff, pull some stuff off there, replace it with something else, or just stack something else on top of it, glue something on top of a dream or a vision that I had. But it's to that point too, we talked about that was gifts and talents, but there's that dreams and visions. What do I dream about doing? And then what do I visualize myself doing? The visualization gets me to the next step. Like I can dream all day, but when I visualize it and I can see it, I'm seeing from point A to point B. So this, having a studio, having a whole production crew and whole studio, I saw that and I visualized that versus like, I would love to have a podcast set up and a dream, studio. It's different when you visualize it. I see it.
Yeah.
And now I know what I'm going for. Now I know when I see it in this case, now we have social media. If I see it in social media or something like that, I'm like, oh, that's exactly what I've been envisioning in my life.
Yeah, because your gift can turn, it turns into dreams and in a vision. Once you accept what your gift is, then that's when the vision comes to light. Now you know what you want to do at that point. Mm-hmm. Some people, like, the talent is cool. We all have talents, and we got multiple gifts too. Because I didn't know I was gifted in being a DJ. It just came because it started with me accepting that I gifted at music.
Is it gifted, or is it a gift, or is it a talent? Could you do it every day? I'm gonna ask you the questions you asked me.
Yeah.
Would you want to do it every day, even if somebody requested music and they were drinking and they were?
I mean, it's different type of DJing.
There you go.
Because I can easily decline DJing at clubs for sure, and I can do a corporate event and they don't bother you.
Yeah.
I can go on TikTok and DJ, go on YouTube and stream, and there's DJs out here making 6 figures a month just DJing on live. Like, there's other ways,
awesome.
you know, where you can play your own music. You got headlining DJ. I tell people it's 3 different types of DJs. Well, more than that, but here you got club DJs, you have residency DJs, you have headlining DJs, and you have corporate DJs. Headlining DJs, they come there to play their own music. You're coming to see the person, not really. You don't really care about like what music is being played. You're there because you're paying to see him or her. The residency DJ, you're kind of going by what the crowd wants, and that can be very tricky. That's kind of like being the middle child.
Who's your top DJ?
Oh, DJ. Well, I got a few, but if I had to pick one, well, you said DJs. Jazzy Jeff is one. Battle Cat. I'm going back to my LA roots. Cali roots, Battle Cat, DJ Quick. Those are like my top 3. But a lot of my favorite producers are DJs. Brian Michael Cox is another one because he's a producer and he DJs. But those are my top 3. That's who I really studied: DJ Jazzy Jeff, Battle Cat, and DJ Quick.
We are going to wrap it up, but before we wrap it up, being that this is a Too Skilled to Fail series where I'm highlighting individuals who are just definitely too skilled to fail. We talked about what that means, but I would love for you to tell me and the audience what that means to you to be too skilled to fail.
Whenever somebody tells you no, there's always a bigger yes. So that can go in many ways, because if people told me no to DJing and I picked up the drums, people told me no to writing songs and I picked up engineering. So that's the best thing about being multi-talented, using your talents or taking everything that you do and making sure that no turns into a bigger yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
All right. Well, look, we are going to wrap it up, but I want everyone to know where they can find you. You talked about they can find you on Spotify and things like that. DJ D.Rim, but what's your handles?
Deryck Rimson, that's my full name. So Deryck, Deryck. I know it's spelled really weird. Rimson. So Deryck Rimson. That's the handle for Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. And of course, y'all can reach me on my website. I should have said that first. DeryckRimson.com. All the handles are on there.
All right. All right. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
A wrap for us on this episode, T. Smith Experience, Too Skilled to Fail, where we talked about the hustle, from hustle to habit.